What up, dog people? Thank you guys for choosing to kick off this Victory Tuesday. And a welcome back kind of again for Flannel Sam. It's Wake Up Woodward. Chat family, as always, you all are the most important part of the Woo Crew production. So let's go on ahead and run up those lights, all ready to kick off this day. It's your boy Brandon Dent, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, your credentialed Pistons reporter and writer for the network. Flannel Sam, all sports knower, man. Go Blue lover, Red Wings correspondent. What up, though, brother?
You know, call me Sam Mazaway for this one or Flannel Maz, but there was nothing better this morning than a hot cup of coffee and Major League Baseball. If you guys don't know, the Cubs and Dodgers, I saw Dante151 mention it in the chat. They are playing a 2-game series in Japan to start the Major League Baseball season, and I got an absolute kick out of it. It was a big baseball fan, and just something about morning baseball just hits right.
Hey, you know what? I miss my days playing baseball, man, in high school. I'm so glad that all my friends were like, bro, just play baseball. I'm like, I cannot hit a baseball. Y'all trying to have me embarrass myself, but the camaraderie, playing in a different sport, the challenge, and honestly, morning spring ball was so dope. So I get you, man. I get you. But those Pistons got that get right, boy. They got that get back. And obviously, it's the Pelicans. So there's only so much that you're going to definitely toot the horn about. But after seeing the Pistons also drop a game, that was a handle your business game to the Wizards, it was definitely awesome to see them go out there and straight up bludgeon the New Orleans Pelicans.
Absolutely. And just remember, I understand that the Pelicans have a terrible record and they blow and all of that, but they're a little bit better when Zion Williamson is in the lineup. And Zion played last night, and Zion actually played pretty well. But you know who didn't play well? CJ McCollum. Yikes. That might have been the worst I've ever seen him play basketball. CJ McCollum's actually good. He just didn't look like it last night.
Cost me my parlay.
Tell the people we got on the menu, brother.
Absolutely. We got a lot of Pistons talk to open the show because they've earned it. And I think last night was a fairly interesting step in the progression of the Detroit Pistons. I'll tell you why in just a couple of minutes. We also got a little TLB, a couple of edge rushers that we had mentioned on Friday's show that I would have liked the Lions to potentially sign, and we all, I think, were open to the idea to some extent, got signed, including one by the Super Bowl champions. And I just want to ask everybody how you're feeling about the Lions in free agency as a result to the defensive line, or if you want to take it in another direction, feel free. And also, we got to check in on those Detroit Tigers because there are a disturbingly a high amount of players who we thought were going to be fixtures of this team this year that will at the very least not be playing on opening day. How does that affect our expectations? How could that affect the team? We'll get into it, but the Pistons, of course, take center stage today.
But those Tigers, I can't wait to talk about it because there's this weird mix, this weird energy when you think about, like you said, some of those players we thought we were going to depend on. Some of them, they just started performing on the field, and some of them are injured. And it's just like, we got to figure this thing out. We know last year, hot start, and it helped to really bolster them. Imagine if they didn't have that hot start to the season.
They probably would have been so out of it that they couldn't make that incredible run at the end. But
yeah,
hey.
I can't wait to talk about it. I know the chat family has been waiting for it too. But one thing that they've been asked for too is they like when we start to show off with Pistons victories, man. And 127-81. This was their second largest road victory in team history, man. Shout out to the Pistons for just going out there and doing what we say they should do all the time. Handle business. You know, we got the victory shades on for today. And one of the things I liked is Cade Cunningham. The efficiency. Just he seemed so unbothered. After a game that was so much emotion, we see it from the players on the court to JB Bickerstaff and the Pistons just crashing out. They still fought, they still battled against like SJ putting up one of his best games of the season. But we see Cade Cunningham come back the next game, and he's unfazed and unbothered and puts up just an easy 24, 8 assists, 4 rebounds on 10 of 16 shooting, 1 of 2 from behind the arc, man. And what I really like is this. It was a stat that just dropped about your top paint and rim defenders and such. Why is Cade Cunningham, out of all the non-bigs, why is Cade Cunningham number 6 in the NBA?
Ooh.
And in the NBA, he's number 22. Think about that, his impact. So it's like we're getting this Cade Cunningham who, I get it, sometimes people may say, well, his 3 balls not dropping. Believe me when I say this, he is doing so much on the court, and really that's a microcosm of this entire team. When you look at guys like Ron Holland and Schroeder, Beasley, and just the energy, just put the points aside. Look at the energy, the hustle, the defense. I'm glad to see that that's what returned last night.
Yeah, and speaking of the Pistons, I'm going to read this super chat from Dante151. I think we can all agree that we are all degenerate baseball fans. Also, Maz called it yesterday on E&E with saying, put your money on the Pistons last night. And shout out Tom Mazaway. That was a heck of a call. None of us knew just how right he actually was. A 46-point win, holding the Pelicans to 81 points. And yeah, you mentioned Cade Cunningham, so I'll start with Cade Cunningham. The last couple of games were a little bit rough for him. We could say that the Wizards game, he did put up good numbers, but he wasn't very efficient, and they lost. And we all know that that's a loss you just cannot have. And then the Oklahoma City Thunder game, we all know what happened. He got ejected early. He obviously got frustrated. But even before that, he didn't play his best game. However, what's the sign of a star? When you have an opportunity for a get-right, just take advantage. Just the smoothest and easiest 24-4-8 I think I've ever seen any basketball player have. And that's not too much hyperbole considering it was a 46-point win, which is under control the whole time. Got his points and assists in a variety of different ways. You love to see a get back, because when you're a star like Cade Cunningham, you're not going to be held down for too many games in a row. And you mentioned it before. There are so many things on the court that even when his shot isn't falling, which it certainly wasn't in the last couple of games, he still impacts the game. But we all know when his shot is falling, when he is scoring, it's over dynamite for the rest of the league. Yeah, it's over for the rest of the league.
You said that so well, and it's awesome to be able to talk about Cade Cunningham in this light now, because they're winning. Because we know all the things that he's been doing are now contributing to we're seeing it in the win columns. He's always been contributing. I would have hated to see just how bad this thing could have really gotten without him, because we're talking about an aspect of no hope versus hope. There's a lot of Pistons fans who I got to interview, a lot of Pistons fans we got to talk to, a lot of people here who held on to hope because of the type of player they knew Cade Cunningham was and could become as well. So, seeing him go out there and have these type of bounce-back games, but also in the games where the efficiency from a shooting perspective might not be there, still knowing that they've won games because of the gravity he's still attracting. So you want your star going out there and feeling comfortable going through his motions. And I do believe that one of the things Cade is probably going through from a maturation standpoint is finally playing with players that are going to hit those shots. Finally playing with players that are going to cut, players that can be your secondary facilitator. Because Asar Thompson started off that game with Greg Kelser dropping he looks like Magic Johnson out there. and it's awesome to see these players thrive because of the work they're putting in, but also understanding the type of player that Cade Cunningham is. They're able to take better advantage of the space that he creates, whether his shot is falling or not. That's one of the more, in my opinion, one of the more critical things to look at when you're talking about or assessing Cade Cunningham. When the efficiency is there, it's just that much easier, and you want it there. But that's not to slight him if it's not there, to say as if his effect isn't throughout this entire game.
Absolutely. Everybody benefits from Cade. And that doesn't mean that Cade is the only reason that these players are good. But Asar Thompson, how many easy looks has he gotten? Jalen Duren, the two-man game. Tim Hardaway, open threes. Malik Beasley, open threes. We could go on and on, et cetera, et cetera. That's what happens when you have a great point guard like a Cade Cunningham, who knows how to make others better and to make himself better as well. And as these players like the Durens and the Asars continue to improve, even outside of just being a finisher for a Cade Cunningham, it's going to be a tough time for the rest of the league. And you saw what can happen when an offense is running like a well-oiled machine. And like I said, I understand that the Pelicans are awful. I'll just repeat it again. Zion Williamson and C.J. McCollum played. Mm-hmm. And those are two really good NBA basketball players. Let me ask you this.
What did they do to us last year?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's why
you missed one shot for 40 points?
And that's why you have to strike hard, strike fast, no mercy. Even though the Pelicans were playing with a bit of a more with more of their horses than they sometimes are, even though, of course, no Brandon Ingram. But
Flannel.
Yes.
Oh, wow, Simone Fontecchio appeared, bro. Like, what the heck? 23 points on 9 of 10 shooting, 7 rebounds. And you know what? He, to me, is one of those X factors. When you're talking about, can this team get to a different level, Simone Fontecchio has the skill set. And it's wild to see what's happened since his foot injury because he and Cade Cunningham, they had developed a really nice chemistry. It's from the time he got there. Fontecchio's told this story several times. He said Cade Cunningham was the first player in his entire career to ask him, hey, bro, where do you like your passes? How do you, when you cut, do you like to cut? Do you like to this? Do you like to trail? Do you play in the pick and roll? That's like blows my mind that you're in the NBA and you're playing with decent point guards up to that point, and none of these guys are asking you this because they just think you're an afterthought. And so when he got the foot injury, which is something I know a lot of people, they might not have understood or known even happened. He was rehabbing all summer from the surgery, from the injury. And that's where I'm like, you know what? If you can get this type of a Fontecchio, though, it helps this Pistons team be that much better because one of the things we started like seeing, Fontecchio's defense is improving. He's been able to be a rangy defender in multiple cases, and it was multiple times he was switched on to SGA or Lou Dort. He made it tough for them, and they couldn't score over him. And so it's like if you get Fontecchio hitting some shots, I know that his motor is always high, but golly, Fontecchio, more of last night, my brother.
That was that was beautiful. And for the record, yes, I know Brandon Ingram doesn't play on the Pelicans anymore. I'm just referring to what they had at the beginning of the year as opposed to what they have now. Obviously, we know the Pelicans are not going anywhere. But when it comes to Simone Fontecchio, man, and I understand we can't expect that 9 of 10 from the floor, 5 of 5 from 3, but this was at least the Simone Fontecchio archetypal offensive game that we saw multiple times last year and have been waiting for all season long. Fortunately, it hasn't cost the Pistons a damn thing because they're wildly exceeding their expectations, but imagine if Simone Fontecchio can get on a little bit of a run to end the year and maybe even crack his way into the postseason rotation because the way that things have been looking before last night, that was a bit iffy. I guess the question is this a trend or was this one of those, a blowout game, Simone Fontecchio just getting basically an unlimited leash to just do whatever he wants and can't count on him during tougher games, but at the end of the day, it was just good to see. Because Simone Fontecchio, we know throughout his entire history, including last year, including his time with Utah, the man can shoot, and he just hadn't found it all year. But that doesn't just go away. Yeah,
no, I feel that, Merle. And you know what? I'm telling you, Fontecchio could be one of those types of pieces, especially if Jaden Ivey. It was good to see Jaden Ivey, just a quick update, shooting around in the gym. No brace or anything of that nature on, and he was just out there full weight on the leg. So shout out to Jaden Ivey. It's good to see him. I know he gave some statements as well about his rehab process and where his mind has been. But I almost am on the side of, obviously if he's healthy and the doctors are clearing him, the Pistons are going to potentially and probably put him out there. I'm almost like, bro, just get healthy. You have a big offseason. 2 big off seasons here now, with contract extension eligibility, and I believe in what Jaden Ivey can be as a player. So when you look at a Simone Fontecchio, though, who's already here, still rehabbed from this foot injury, he gives you this opportunity to actually have some of that dynamic of a player that you could depend on from a scoring standpoint, from a hustle standpoint, scrapping it up in the middle of the paint and such. Some of the things that I do believe Jaden Ivey did well that we still miss on this team. So Simone Fontecchio, bro, keep it up, man. And I want to be able to also go over these team stats and look ahead maybe in the next segment.
Go, absolutely. That should be a lot of fun because I'll tell you what, if you're referring to the team stats from last night, they are very pretty. I will just say that.
It was beautiful music.
I probably shouldn't say pretty in terms of basketball, but you know what I mean.
You know what? One of them, the largest lead, Pistons 46, the Pelicans 0.
And what was the final score? It was a 46-point game. But anywho, we got to talk about Feldman Chevrolet of Novi, Detroit's #1 Chevrolet dealer and the Chevrolet dealer of the year for 6 consecutive years. They got deals of the month.